Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of OpenLab. Kim, thanks for joining me again, as always. Good to see you.
Hey, Jeff. Good to see you.
How's things going?
Pretty good. Got my awesome inventory lab.
There you go. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
So today, if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, just you can just comment on the stream and we'll see your questions. If you have questions, we're going to be giving away swag. Towards the end, there'll be a couple of swag bags and full of goodies, as well as Amazon gift cards. So make sure you comment, even if just to say hi, so that you're entered for all of that. And I'm sure you're going to have questions, though, today. So, Kim, you may have even wondered, how do these Amazon sellers, how do they, purchase their inventory to sell? Do they self-finance? Could it be a bank loan, something like that?
Exactly. And I'm sure a lot of people wonder if they're just starting, where do I even begin?
Right. I'm sure some people do the old credit card route, but that may not be the best option. So today, our guest is Don Hedding from Accrue Me. And Accrue Me is very unique. I was reading about it, and they have a unique way to provide capital to Amazon sellers. And so we're going to have Don... We're going to welcome Don now and talk some more about it. So here we go.
Hey
Don.
Hey Jeff. It's uncanny how similar I look to Derek Jeter, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Derek, the captain,
you're all set.
He was happy to have you on board.
So nice.
A little background for those watching that have no idea what just happened. I found out Don is a huge New York Mets fan, so I had to have a Yankee welcome him into the stream. So
that's great.
So thanks again for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
I'm glad you didn't just disconnect immediately when you saw Yankee there on the screen.
I think everybody loves Derek Jeter, no matter what. He's just a class
captain.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. He's great. Yeah.
Hey, to start off, would you mind just kind of telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, those sorts of things?
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and then moved out to Long Island. And it's funny, I'll give you something about Brooklyn that's pretty interesting. I lived on a street in Brooklyn, and I'm not that old, trust me, that was unpaved, an unpaved street in Brooklyn. We were down in a part of Bensonhurst called Gravesend Bay, which was down by the water. And it was mainly like bungalows and things, and this street was just forgotten about. And we were the last block before Coney Island. So if people know about Coney Island, we would walk into Coney Island and walk to Steeplechase and, the big amusement park and everything, and Nathan's hot dogs and all of that. And it was a great place to live. And then we moved to the country. We literally called it moving to the country, which was the first town on Long Island. So just outside the city, we were right on the border. And we called it the country because you had a backyard, and it was a different world. It was you got to ride a bicycle around a park, and it was a lot of fun. But I still live on Long Island, and love it. And but I love everywhere. I really haven't found a place in the United States that I've been that I can't figure out why people would live here. Every part of the country I just absolutely love. So anyway, long story short, I started as a financial planner. I started my own financial planning company when I was, young, like 19 years old, 20 years old, maybe 20. And then I learned about mortgages, and I flipped from being a financial planner and built a very nice company, being able to buy my first house, my first new car, all of that stuff, my second house. And I started a mortgage company. And I quickly became one of the largest mortgage companies in New York State. And after 10 years, I sold that. Then I did something like this that's never been done before. I started a mortgage broker franchise, came up with the concept and developed the whole thing. And built it to 760 units nationwide and sold that. I then took some time off and decided I'd love to be out on the fields with the kids. So what do? I started a publishing company. You know, there's not really there's not a stream of flow here, right? You know, so I love being on the fields with the kids. So I started a publishing company to publish a newspaper that I called Youth Soccer. So being out on the soccer fields, and within 6 months, again, I'm the only employee. I do everything. Full newspaper, 32 pages.
Oh, wow.
And I built it to 167,000 copies per month. We were the official newspaper for New York State soccer, and I sold that. And I got into some technology things and back into the mortgage industry, and I started an entertainment company and from scratch, just myself and a friend. And we did 8 feature-length films with the biggest names like Tom Cruise and Natalie Portman and Mark Ruffalo. We did one of the partners we brought in developed a show called Rock of Ages. So we created and produced the Broadway show Rock of Ages. We sold the movie. That was a pretty
long running show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It is one of the longest running shows of all time. It is, I think we're number 26. I haven't looked in quite a while, but I think we're the 26th longest running show of all time. And a little trick to that, we purposefully had it in a small theater. So, you know, you're going to fill up a small theater for a long time. We did it on purpose. And that was the thinking. Yeah. You know, if you had a really big theater and, you know, the sales go down a little bit, you're dead. But I learned an awful lot about Broadway and financing Broadway. And it's very, very interesting, which is a whole nother topic. But I got back into the mortgage industry. I ended up buying and selling houses. I did 300 houses in 18 months, just on my own. Every one of them for a profit. You know, I know. Don't ask.
Awesome.
So I've done a whole bunch of different things in different industries. And then I was retired for, 5 years again. And I, talking to an old friend from the mortgage industry, he brought up Amazon sellers. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know what FBA was. I didn't know what Seller Central was. I didn't know anything. So I started asking. And we found, I found that the one thing that every seller that I spoke to needed, small and large, was capital to grow. They all said the same thing to me. The options for money are so bad. And I'm like, okay, let's look into it. So we created something that's never been done in finance, certainly has never been done for Amazon sellers, and something completely unique where the risk is not just on the seller, but it's on us as well. And we actually take over the risk and help them grow their business in a way that's never been done. Boom.
Yeah, it sounds pretty innovative. Getting back to your New York days, Bay Ridge, are you familiar with that neighborhood?
It's right next to right next to where we were.
Yeah.
So
I used to spend a lot of time in Bay Ridge in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, just before 9/11. Buddy of mine was a New York cop, rest in peace, Ed Riley. And I spent years visiting back and forth from Oregon. So pretty familiar there.
I love Bay Ridge. Bay Ridge is the next town over, if you will, from where we were in Bensonhurst. So from the back of our block, you could take your bicycle along the beach, bicycle path going along the Gravesend Bay right there, the Verrazano Narrows.
Oh, yeah.
And so at the end of our block, we could see the Verrazano Bridge being built every step of the way. And the day that it was opened up, our entire neighborhood got in the cars and we drove over the bridge and back, and we had a big block party. It was very exciting. The bridge means a lot to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that bridge.
Me too.
So
I'm just curious, Don,
how
did you actually come about? How did you come up with the idea? I mean, like you said, this is something really innovative. I don't think that we've seen this before. What exactly was your inspiration?
Yeah, you definitely haven't seen it. Nobody's seen it. It's never been done. Literally, I'm not kidding around with that. So here's what happened. These sellers that I reached out to my accountants. I asked them if they knew any Amazon sellers. They put me in touch with 3. And it was just happened to be that one was small. He had about $5,000 of inventory. One had about $100,000 or more in inventory. And one had a few million in inventory. And, we had the same accountant. So they got on the phone with me and I'm just trying to learn. I had no idea. At the end of the calls, I asked them all the same question. What do you need? And they all said they need capital, that the sources were terrible. So, okay. So I start researching the lending sources for them. I didn't think anything beyond that. And the first one I looked at, the ad was great. It said, borrow 10,000, pay back 11. It's that simple. I'm like, wow, that is great. I think how could I ever compete with that? So, being a finance guy, I called the company. I asked some questions. I read everything I could. And I found that you paying it back every other week. Okay. I didn't know at the time that Amazon pays every other week. Okay. So you're paying twice a month. It's a 6-month loan. So when I ran the numbers, so if you borrow 10,000, your monthly payment was $1,856. So that means on that $10,000, you have to make a monthly ROI of 19% monthly to basically break even. So if you did that, you'd put $50 in your pocket for taking on the risk of $10,000, signing personally. Your house is at risk, whether your spouse knows it or not. The house is at risk. It's a ridiculously bad deal. And I'm like, holy cow. The problem is people don't even know it. And they're taking that loan out today all the time. They don't know how bad it is. So I said this to my partner, and my partner, who's a Wharton graduate and a lawyer, he said to me, well, why don't we partner with the sellers? I said, what do you mean? And he goes, I don't know. Let's talk it through. So over about a month period of time, we brainstormed an idea that instead of lending money to a seller, we'll actually invest it in that seller. All right. So we'll invest it in their business, but we won't take any ownership in the business. All right. Right there. That doesn't seem to make sense to most people. Right. And then on top of that, we're not going to charge you any interest. None. No fees. Wait a minute. All these lenders are getting things onto the table that we don't see up front. We just don't. And I come from the industry. You have to really dig deep to figure out how are they earning this money. So no interest. We're not going to charge ask them to sign a personal guarantee. So they're not taking personal risk. They're not putting their house up. It's completely a business to business transaction. And now to blow everybody's mind, we're not going to require them to make monthly payments. All right. Now it sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy. Like, come on, it doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes all the sense in the world, because what we found is that the sellers do very well. They earn a good living. They earn anywhere, and I've seen a bunch, I got to tell you, thousands. They earn anywhere from 5% per month to some say they earn 30%, some say they earn 70%. Reality is they earn in 99% of the cases 5% to 20% per month. And that's great. It's fantastic. So all we do is we'll double their capital. So we'll give them more money than anybody else will give them. No interest, no payments, no ownership in their business. And we just get a small percentage of the profits. So in a nutshell, Jeff, you have all these diagrams behind you. I'll give you the real basic math that, a woman I was talking to yesterday, a very, very, very large seller, she got it like this. She actually said it to me. She goes, so you're telling me that in a nutshell, even though it all gets combined, I, meaning the seller, will earn 100% of the profit on my money, and I'll earn 50% of the profit on your money, AccrueMe's money. I said, exactly. That's exactly how it works. She goes, I can't lose in this deal. That's exactly the way we set it up. There's only one way a seller can lose. Take a guess.
If they don't sell?
If they don't sell, they don't lose with us. So if they lose money,
because you're just taking profit.
Yeah, they don't owe us anything. They didn't pay us anything. Gotcha. They don't owe us anything. So we're taking the risk right there with them. The only way a seller can lose is if they take our money and leave it in the bank. that if they don't invest it in inventory, in products, then they're not getting any value, and you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't pay us. So we teach everybody, if we approve you for $100,000, but you need $10,000 today, take 10. You need another 10,000 next week, it's in your account in an hour. The next week, the next month, you need 30,000, it's in your account in an hour. Just take what you need. And then when you're flush with cash, when you have those slow months, it's in your best interest to pay us, because that'll knock our profit percentage down. And we can get into that. So
well, speaking of that part about the inventory, what are your thoughts on the premise? I've read this in some articles that, this isn't actually a loan, but using a loan to buy inventory can increase the chances of a bad buying decision. And in your case, what have you found with that? True, false?
Theoretically, it could.
Mm-hmm.
With us, if they make a bad buying decision, we're taking the risk with them. So let's say they made a bad buying decision and they bought $10,000 of this water bottle,
right? And
they lose money on it. Well, they borrowed our money to do it. They didn't owe us anything because there was no profit. So they didn't take any risk there. With a loan, if they lost money, they're still paying, whatever the payment is to that lender. So there's a tremendous risk. So yeah, when you put money in people's pockets, there's two things I think that happen. One is an ego effect. I don't care who you are. Somebody says, hey, you qualify. Amazon sends you a note and says, you qualify for $10,000. You feel good about that. I'm going to take that $10,000. I'm like, I'll never forget the first loan I took in business. I felt really good about it. The bank would lend me money. I was, I'm a real businessman now. It was the worst thing I ever did. Yeah. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I couldn't sleep. I had to pay this damn thing back. It was what an experience. But now I feel my ego gets pumped up because Amazon's going to give me $10,000. What am I going to do with that $10,000? If I don't have someplace to put it, an inventory to buy, that's a waste of time and money. So now I go out and I try to buy something, and I could make that mistake. And I'm sure it happens. We've had sellers that make mistakes with buying decisions, and it's just part of the deal. It's part of life.
Yeah. You guys are there though to help along as I would say like partners almost.
Well, we are
on the business, but you're helping them succeed, because when they succeed, you succeed. That's kind of the game plan.
You got it. So, what we do is we have a whole bunch of team members who are experts in Amazon. So let's say our sellers are looking to buy something, whatever the inventory is, and they want us to double check it for them. We love to do that. So they might say, hey, Don, I'm going to buy $10,000 of this water bottle. Okay, fine. Send it in. We'll do it a real deep dive analysis, and we built our own technology to do this, which I think is better than anything that's out there. And the Wall Street investors would tell you the same thing, that our technology is better. And we'll run that through our technology to tell them it's good, it's bad, or we'll tell them, hey, you have some potential issues here. Did you notice that 3 months ago, Amazon was on this product? And 4 months ago or 5 months ago, Amazon was on this product. And in each case, look at how the profit went down. And, we could show them all the details that maybe they caught and maybe they didn't. So we're here to support them and help them make a good decision. We've introduced sellers to great suppliers on the wholesale side. We're here to help. We'll introduce them to the right 3PLs if that's what they need. Again, just as you said, all we want to do is help them make money. If we can help them make money, we make money.
Yeah. All right. So, Dan, I understand you have a presentation that you'd like to show. I want to make sure that you have time to share that with us, because I'm sure there are going to be other questions that come up. So,
sure.
All right.
So I'll start the presentation, and I'm going to skip a bunch of slides because we just touched on a lot of things.
Sure.
But I'll get right to the details, and I'm thinking of a fun thing in there too I might show. So give me half a second and we will do that. Okay.
So again, just a reminder, if you're watching, put your make a comment, even if it's just to say hi, either on YouTube or Facebook, and then you'll be entered into our drawing. We're going to have some swag bags and.
Can you see my
Amazon
screen?
gift card here. Yep. Here we go.
Okay. So I'm just going to fly through a little bit because, again, we've talked about a bit. So, it's how to grow, get the capital to grow your business with zero interest and no monthly payments. Double your capital with zero interest, no monthly payments, no loss of ownership. We'll give you more money every month, no personal guarantee, no fees, and just a simple temporary profit share. Literally the best partner you ever imagined. A little bit about me, but I won't get into that. Our theory, because I'm sure people are wondering, like, what the hell? Who does this? Well, here's our theory. We know finance, and we do. You know Amazon, and you do. We want to help you grow by doubling your capital without requiring you to pay monthly payments, which is mind-blowing. And, we want to tag along for some of the profits. That's it. That's the whole it. Everything in a nutshell. Everybody says to me, Don, it sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? And you know what? I finally came to realize that the catch is that everybody, you, me, everybody, is used to getting screwed in finance. We go out and get a credit card. We don't realize that, it's a 0% credit card. We don't realize that when you pay one thing late on another credit card, this credit card goes up to 20%. We don't know these things. So it's set up for us to be screwed. And we did this exactly opposite. So, just real quick, can you imagine going on Shark Tank? An Amazon seller saying, hey, I want $100,000 and I'll give up 5% of my business. And the first shark says, oh, yeah, right? First shark says, I'll give you the 100,000, but I want 30% of your business. Oh boy. The second shark says, I'll give you $110,000 because I really want to be in the Amazon world, but I want 35% of your business. Oh boy. Now Mr. Wonderful comes in and says, I'll give you the 100,000. I'll make it a loan for 1 year at 15%. And I want $1 on every unit of everything you sell forever.
Yep.
And everybody, this poor, in perpetuity, exactly. And this poor seller is there saying, oh my God, what are my options? And then this last shark, Accrue Me, says, hey, I'll give you your money with no interest. Now, the first two are getting pretty, not too happy. And Mr. Wonderful is definitely not happy. No required monthly payments. They don't know where we're going right now. No loss of ownership. The first two want to throw us off the stage. And we'll give you more money. No personal guarantee. They're all like, oh, my God, how could we as sharks ever get another deal going up against this? And they couldn't, because this is really the best deal that's ever been created. I'm just telling you that flat out. So, and it's not just me saying it. Anybody that understands it says the same thing. And all that, we get a small share of the profits that naturally declines. So as your business grows, our profit percentage goes down. It's unbelievable. And you only pay us for as long as you use our money. That's it. There are no fees. There's no prepayment penalty or any of that kind of stuff. We only win when you win. If you earn zero, what do we earn? Zero.
Yeah, zero. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. If you do well, we do pretty well. It's just bottom line. So it's all shared. The risk is shared. All right. So this is just interesting. So remember last April when Amazon wouldn't let you send in all of your products, only essential items, right? We had plenty of sellers that, broke even and then lost money. And they were concerned. And I got the phone calls. Don, what are you guys going to do? I said, what do you mean? What are we going to do? Well, we're not making any money anymore. I know. This is life. This is business. And they were all pretty surprised to see that we were not hammering them or pressuring them or asking for our money back. No, we were in there with them. We're a partner with them. One seller had, when he came to us, he had a $100,000 loan from Amazon, which he paid off. And the monthly payment was like $9,000 a month. And he said to me, Don, if I had to make monthly payments now, I'd be out of business. And he would have been. So we love the model, and so do our sellers. So here, I'm going to give you the details of this, and I'm flying through it. But you have to understand a couple of terms, and everybody knows these terms, but I want to give you my definition. So what is capital? It's your inventory at cost plus whatever amount is due to you from Amazon. All right, add those two together. We call that capital. And then total capital is your capital plus what we invest. So if you have $100,000 and we give you $100,000, total capital is $200,000. What's our capital percentage? It's 50% in this example, right? It's we're 100,000 of the 200,000. And I'm flying through this because it's not brain surgery. What's our profit percentage? Okay, this is important. Whatever our capital percentage is, remember in this example, you have 100,000, we give you 100,000. We represent 50% of the capital in the business. Whatever that is, cut it in half. So we would get 25% of the profits for that month. It changes monthly. But by cutting it in half, that's how it's set up so that you can't lose. You're always making money on our money, right? I think people see it. If we represent 50%, we get 25%. If we're 30%, we get 15. If we're 10%, we get 5. And it changes monthly. And now profit, last thing that's very, very important. What do we call profit? And it's your revenue from Amazon, less your cost of goods sold, less all the Amazon fees, including PPC. So it's really your gross profit from Amazon. If you own your own warehouse, there's a lot more expenses below that. We're not counting your car lease and things like that. Okay, so these are the basic terms. I'm going to give you an example now. So on your own, I'm flying through this. I hope everybody gets this. You have $100,000 of capital. Your ROI is 20%. I'm just picking that number. It doesn't matter what that number is, but and so that means you're earning $20,000 a month. Great business. Congratulations. Now what happens with AccrueMe? And by the way, AccrueMe doesn't take any profit percentage for the first 30 days. We want you to get up. So we give you the $100,000. Now you have $200,000 in the business. Already you know that the business is going to do better. AccrueMe represents 50% of the capital. We get 25% of the profit for that month. So you get 75% and the ROI is the same. And so the profit now is $40,000. Your profit just increased from $20,000 to $30,000. And your revised ROI went up by 50%. It's like magic. It literally is like magic. You just increased your ROI and your profit by 50%, and you didn't take on additional risk. You didn't sign personally. You didn't take on any debt. This is unbelievable. So just as a summary, this is the way it works. This is absolutely the way it works. All right. So then if you think about it, you started with 100, we gave you 100. So this month you have 2. Next month, we'll leave our money in. And if you don't want to pay us, we'll leave the money in. If you want to pay us, we love that. But if we leave the money in, that means next month you have $240,000 to grow your business. 2 months ago, you had $100,000. Which business is going to grow more? The guy who's stuck with 100 or the one that 2 months later has 240,000 of opportunities? And you don't have to use it all. You use whatever you need. So I'm going to give you a quick 2-slide summary of a case study. Gary and Joy were our first clients, very first clients. We gave them money with no underwriting criteria, no technology. I'm a believer in something I call start stupid. All right. I mean, just go out and do it and you'll figure it out. So this is what we did. We went out, we figured we would lose money, but we didn't. So on their own, they earned $90,000 and a $9,000 profit. Then for 9 months with AccrueMe in 2019, their revenue jumped up to almost $400,000, and their profit that they took home was $41,000. Okay, after AccrueMe. Then last year, again, they jumped up to almost $700,000, and their net was $103,000. But that's not the best part. Check this out. During that time, remember, let's just go back for a second. Remember, they earned $41,000 and $103,000. All right, so $144,000. During that time, they took out $114,000. And they didn't make a single payment to AccrueMe for 18 months. So that's how all of this growth was enabled, by not making monthly payments, although they were able to take money out to live and grow their business. It's just unbelievable. So here's a quick thing that they said. We started in a business relationship with AccrueMe, and it has been fantastic. But it has become a friendship and so much more than just business. As we've experienced some huge challenges in our family, AccrueMe has worked with us through those to help us keep our business going and growing. Thank you to the whole AccrueMe team. I get choked up every time I read that. So real quick, I'm not going to even go much in here. We have a great calculator on our site that'll show you how you'll do on your own versus how you'll do with AccrueMe. Click on Get a Funding Offer. All that does is you get a questionnaire from us that takes about 2 minutes to 3 minutes to fill out. Basic stuff like how much inventory do you have? What did you earn last month? You know, simple stuff. We'll give you an instant offer. It's an estimate. Then we'll ask for access to developer access and for your cost per unit. And then we can give you a full offer with all the details in plain English. And I can tell you it's plain English because I'm not a lawyer and I wrote it. Here's what we require. Yeah, right. And this is the last slide. 6 months successfully selling on Amazon. A minimum of $10,000 of capital. So that's as low as we go, is giving you $10,000, but we're trying to help the small guy as much as the big guy. And to be an LLC or be willing to become an LLC. And what the LLC does is it enables us to invest in your business without owning your business. Okay. And then feel free to connect with me, and this will all be up later. But let me stop sharing this and come back and see those two beautiful faces.
You're too kind there with that. Well, for Kim it applies, but not for me. But, I'll take it.
Yeah. How was that for running through?
Yeah, that was good.
That was fantastic. So I'm sure, at least I have a question. I'm sure other people do too. I mean, obviously, you just gave us a whole rundown of all the advantages of using a system like AccrueMe, but can you talk a little bit about the more traditional, financing that people typically do with their businesses, credit cards, peer-to-peer, traditional loans, and just talk about some of the pros and cons of those? I mean, some of it's obvious, like you said, monthly payments, interest, but what are some of the other things that people need to look out for, some of the pitfalls that they need to watch out for?
I'm going to give you a pitfall that people don't think about. All right. And nobody seems to talk about it. But being in the lending industry for years, especially with dealing with consumers, I know how emotional it is and how it feels. Okay. And I would tell people, like in the mortgage industry, do I take a fixed rate or an adjustable rate? Well, the adjustable might be the best thing for you. But if you're worried about it and you're not going to sleep, then it's not worth it. So think of that with credit cards. So, okay, I can get a credit card. I can build my business off of credit cards. And sometimes it works and sometimes it's good. But I don't care who you are. When your spouse says, hey, I want to go to Disney, for the holidays, and you have to say, well, we're tapped out on the credit cards, but we have some Disney backpacks that I'm trying to sell, it's not going to go over well. It's just not good. Anybody that has ever had credit card debt of any amount knows how uncomfortable it is. And for me, it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't think anybody likes it. So if I was building a business on it, I would be scared. I would not be sleeping well. So I think the emotional part of it comes in. And I'm going to stay with credit cards. I mentioned it earlier. There are so many little catches. All right, so we all have credit cards. Have you ever read the credit card agreement?
I bet most people
right?
don't even bother.
No, nobody.
Like an insurance policy. No one reads those either.
Yeah.
So
you're absolutely right. So I actually have read some of them, but I did it on purpose because I knew some of the things about it. I knew some of the things I was looking for. Like, what are the triggers? And if you go through a credit card agreement, you'll find it very quickly. And you'll find a percentage in there somewhere. And it might say 20%, it might say 30%. It might say 36%, as crazy as this is. And what does the wording before it say? Well, if you on your credit report have paid any debt late, this bank now, the credit card company, is enabled to increase your rate instantly to that number. And you don't even know it. They don't tell you. There's no warning. I mean, there's so many games going on with that. So it's really dangerous, in my opinion, to use credit cards. I wouldn't do it. Personally, I wouldn't do it. Loans, if you're going to take out a loan, you have to do the research and really understand the terms and what the payments are. So it's, I did the research, and I can tell you it's not the interest rate that bugs me so much, because some of them, sound reasonable. But it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It's the term that really matters. So again, let me apply it to a mortgage and real estate, because I think people understand it easier. You're going to buy a $500,000 home. Let's say it's a $600,000 home, and you're going to get a $500,000 mortgage. And all right, so the monthly payment, over 30 years is, I'm making up a number, $2,000. Okay, I can afford that. But what if that term of that loan was only 1 year? That monthly payment would be like, $48,000 a month. I can't afford that. And that's what the case is in all of these cases. They're all short term. The longest term that I've seen is 12 months. Most of them are 6 months, 7 months. I've seen them as low as 4 months. You can't make money. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you're doing. It's an ego boost, but you cannot make money. It is not good for your business.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when your Amazon sellers are looking at obtaining financing, what do you think is the most important thing they need to know when they're going into a process like that?
They really need to know what they're going to do with the money, and what the actual cost of that money is, how much they have to pay every month, and that they can deploy that money, buy inventory that is going to sell and earn them a profit well over that amount, that payment. Because remember, anybody that's been in business knows that it goes like this. You feel great at times. It's like the best thing in the world. I own my own business. I'm making money. Everything's good. And like, it can be the next day that something happens that you don't foresee. And it's the lousiest thing in the world. Like, why did I ever do this? And it's not just me. It's everybody has gone through that. There was a saying I saw on a guy's refrigerator a long time ago. And the saying was, and I'll never forget it, it was, sometimes, he was a landscaper, sometimes owning your own business is as overrated as mom's apple pie. And now I had a big company at the time, and I was making a ton of money, ridiculous amounts of money. But a year later, I was losing, no fault of my own, but I went from earning, I'll give you numbers, like $300,000 a month to losing $100,000 a month. All right, I can handle losing $100,000, not a big deal. The next month, all right, I'm a big boy. I can handle another 100,000. All of a sudden, it's 6 months later, and I'm losing $100,000 a month. It's not fun anymore. This is scary. How am I going to turn this around? And I had to make some really, really, really tough decisions, and I had to learn and grow up very, very quickly to save the business and then start making a lot of money again, which I did. But anybody in business has gone through highs and lows. Tomorrow, Amazon suspends your account. It might be suspended for a day. It could be suspended for 18 months, as has happened to people I know. And it's scary. Owning your own business is scary. So know all the terms, know what you're getting into, and be able to deploy that money into good inventory immediately. Not think about it, but don't take the money unless you're ready to go. That would be my advice.
when people are looking for some kind of financing for their business, whether they use a traditional type, whether it's credit card, loan, whether they go through AccrueMe, what kinds of questions should they be asking? Other than the obvious, interest, what's your interest rate? How long do I have to pay this back? What is there anything else specifically they should be asking?
Well, in this industry, which is odd, so many of the loans are requiring you to pay off of the gross revenue. So it's not even on, a fixed monthly, fee, like I'm going to pay $1,000 a month. No, I'm paying off my gross. So they're going to take a percentage of my gross revenue. It's really hard to make money that way. And you don't realize it when you're going in because it sounds good. It sounds okay. It must be okay. It's just very, very difficult. So if you're paying, I saw one where, let's say you're bringing in $10,000 and Amazon, let me see exactly how it works. Let's say you bring in $10,000 and you only take $5,000 as a loan. They're still charging you on the $10,000. Crazy. But I've read the terms to that company, to that agreement, and it's very difficult to understand it. You'd have to talk to other people, really see what's happened, how they, how it's worked for them. Lending in general, finance in general, is not a very open industry. It just isn't. Again, have you read your mortgage agreement? You probably haven't. Have you read your credit card statement? You haven't. All these things, you just haven't done it. It's not set up for you to read these things. It's like the terms of service, forget about Amazon for a minute, but on whatever it might be, Facebook or an app that you just downloaded, you click, I agree. You're not reading it. It's the same thing in lending. With us, what we do is we actually take our agreement, and I took all the key points, and I call it the key terms document, and put it in bullet points so that it's easy to follow. And I'm not a lawyer, and I wrote it out in plain English, as I call Brooklyn, so that anybody could understand it. And we get on a call with every single seller, and we go through it point by point by point and make sure everything is understood, and there's any questions get answered, and we don't push. It's just the way we do it. We want you to win.
I got a question I want to pop in. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I just noticed that a couple of people had a similar question. Now, you had mentioned that one thing that you require of your sellers is that they've been selling on Amazon for at least 6 months. What advice would you give to someone who isn't quite there yet? They need the capital, but they haven't been doing the Amazon selling for 6 months yet.
Keep going. If you're close, reach out to us. And you're all going to have my contact information. So, that's easy enough. I'll give you answers. Don't worry. I hate when people reach out. I hate when I reach out to somebody specifically on LinkedIn and they ignore me. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. So if I can help you, I'm happy to help you. So if you're close to it, we'll start working with you and we'll get you there. Until then, you're going to make mistakes at the under 6 month mark. You just will. So live with that for a little bit. Be patient. Grow your business. You're going to grow a little bit slower than you'd like. But then when you get to that 6 month, let's call it 5 months, and you start applying and we start going down the path. And now you hit that 6 month mark and we double the capital in your business, if that's what you want. And all of a sudden your growth starts going like this. Like you see our logo with the going up. That's the idea. That's what we're trying to do for sellers. So, God bless you for doing it for 6 months or 4 months or 3 months. And you're learning and you're getting, punched in the gut along the way at times, and you're figuring things out. Take your time, take a deep breath. You'll get there. And we want to help you in the biggest way. So you'll get there.
So Ben had one that's, I think I know the answer to this already, but it's, do you only invest in sellers with their own brand?
Hey, Ben, great picture, man. I want to be on the beach. I literally just sold my beach house maybe 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
So yeah. And while we were down at the beach house for the final 2 weeks of enjoying this, we've had it for like 15 years, both my wife and I got COVID. But if you're gonna overcome COVID, you might as well do it on a beach.
Do it on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we actually work with people that are in the private label part. We work with tons of wholesale sellers. We love wholesale. And I can tell you the reasons why one over the other. We actually have a couple of retail arbitrage sellers as well, which you may find surprising. It seems like everybody finds it surprising, but they have done very well and they love us and we love them. So yeah, so Ben, we're pretty agnostic. We don't really care. What we really like about wholesale in this market is that you're buying most often domestically. So you're buying something that's going to be in Amazon in 2 weeks. Where private label, you might put the order in today. It gets, you have to pay, typically a third, and it might be 45 to 90 days before that product, that inventory lands in the United States. And now it goes to a warehouse and now you're sending it to Amazon. The planning and the money and the time is astronomical. But the positive on the private label side is if you want to sell your business, there are many more buyers for a private label brand than a wholesale brand or a wholesale seller. However, I think the best thing, if anybody, a little advice for people, the best thing in my mind, think long term, is to be private label and wholesale. Because now private label, you might make more money. You probably will make more money. And you'll be building something that you can eventually sell. But as private label goes up and down because of the way the inventory works, the supply chain, wholesale has cash flow that goes consistent. So you can have a business that every month you're making money and the money's coming in and you're never running out of inventory as you're funding your private label business and opening up new brands. Oh, yeah. So that's the way I would do it.
You just mentioned if somebody wanted to sell their business. So I wanted to ask the question, if someone goes to AccrueMe and you invest in their company and then they decide to sell, do you get a profit of the sale? Or no, you don't actually own, you have no actual ownership. So what happens then?
So we are actually a partner in the business, except we're not an equity partner. So we don't own any of the business.
Obviously you're not. You have no venture capitalism. So
nope.
Because there's no equity. Okay.
No equity. So here's the way it works though. Let's say, and this is happening right now, where sellers are using our money. Think about it. You have a private label business and you're going to sell it. You want to sell it in a year and a half or 2 years. And you're, selling $1 million a year and you're making $100,000 net. Okay. You have a good business and they're going to offer you, I'm going to keep the numbers simple, 4 times your net. Okay. Just simple numbers. So they're going to give you $400,000. Wow. All right. That feels good, but it's not life-changing. So they come to us and now we start building the business over the next year to 2 years. And they go from selling $1 million to $3 million, which is really, really, really doable. I'm using small numbers now. So now, what did I say? They had $100,000. So now they have $300,000 4 times. So now it's $1.2 million in their pocket. And what does AccrueMe get? Without them making any payments to AccrueMe, all we get is our original investment plus whatever accrued profits we have along the way. They keep all the upside. 100%. Oh, yeah. Hey, Lulu, thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like she had an active interest in your company, so that's great.
You know what's happening, Jeff? People love what we're doing, but it's new. It's different.
Right.
It's, if I said our interest rate is this, our term is that, this is how long you have to pay it back, everybody would understand that. It's lending. It's been around for 2,000 years. Yep. We're flipping lending on its head And we're doing
Yeah.
something that, as one seller said, it's eminently fair. And that's really the way to look at it.
I know they like to talk about disruptors in different fields, and that sounds like what you guys are doing. You're the disruptor in the lending, because it's not really lending, it's funding.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Completely different.
I think there may be some confusion a little bit, so I'm just going to pop this up there so maybe you could explain the capital, because I don't think it's the seller's cash, because that includes the inventory you already have plus whatever you're owed by Amazon, right?
So I'm going to get into that now. So Lulu, it's great to see you. Great smile. Love it. So the 10,000 is really how much we would invest in your business. Okay. So the minimum that will go is 10,000. And truthfully, if you came to us and it was only 9,000, it wouldn't be a problem. We want to help you. We'll help you grow to that number. Just talk to us, and we're reasonable people as much as we can. But the 10,000 is how much you would qualify for. So it's your inventory at cost. So let's just call that $8,000. And then whatever is due to you from Amazon, let's call that $2,000. Reasonable numbers. There's your $10,000 right there. You would qualify for $10,000 instantly. If it's a little bit less, don't worry about it. If you have an issue and you're right there, talk to us. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, if you had any questions, and if you haven't got your name in for the drawing, we're going to be doing that shortly. But we have a very important segment we need to get to. And
hey, Jeff, I didn't get my name in for the drawing.
I'll send you a special swag bag. Anyway.
Don't you worry about it. We'll hook you up, John.
Take care of you. We appreciate the time you spent to join us today.
Well, I got to tell you, quite honestly, from day one, we love Inventory Lab. We recommend the Inventory Lab all the time. Well, it's God's honest truth. When we first started this, all right, people were coming to us and they didn't have good numbers. So how are we going to even figure anything out? We just kept sending them over to Inventory Lab.
Well, we really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to go back to what you'd said. Since we have an upcoming question, but what films did you produce? Maybe one or two that you can name, and then we'll get into the important question of the day.
Oh, I have to remember the names. So obviously, right? We actually had two movies in Sundance at the same time that won awards. Both movies won awards in Sundance, which was a great experience. Oh, wow. So much fun being out in Park City. And, the best thing about being in the movie business and Broadway are the parties. The parties are off the charts, off the charts. It's unbelievable. So much fun. Anyway, so we had two movies then. One was called Hesher, which I think was Hesher, which was a Natalie Portman, Rainn Wilson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I never remember the mother from Seinfeld.
Wow, that's a great cast.
It's a great cast, and you've never seen Joseph Gordon-Levitt like this. The whole movie, his shirt is off. He's got a big, finger on his chest. He's got tattoos everywhere. Every other word is the F word. Natalie Portman is, like a librarian. She's perfect for the role. And I'm not going to tell you the whole movie, but it was a hard-hitting movie and a very good movie. I don't remember who bought it. I think it was New Line. And they opened it in 2 theaters in Iowa. And it was not a movie like that. It was a movie that was going to be in Miami and New York. And, it's a tough movie. Anyway, it went straight to DVD. It was crazy. The other one was Sympathy. I don't remember the name. It wasn't Sympathy for the Devil, but it was something like that. It was something like that. It was also a very interesting movie. The guy who wrote it and starred in it was this whole group of actors that came up together, like Mark Ruffalo, James Franco, if I remember. There were like 6 or 7 of them that were just like superstars. And this guy, they all considered to be the best of them all. And he had a climbing accident and broke his spine and was in a wheelchair after that. And anyway, so he wrote this movie and starred in it. It was a great movie. So
Was
we did
it
those. We did
Sympathy for Delicious? Does that
Sympathy
sound
for
right?
Delicious. That's it. Very
Yeah.
good. Wow.
Like sympathy. That's Mark Ruffalo was what
That's right.
what
Mark
was
Ruffalo was in
the
the movie.
reminder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
all
right.
his
Okay,
friends
so
were in the movie.
we have a really
Well,
important
Kim, before you ask the question, now
What?
I need to take a drink.
Oh.
Okay, there we go.
That's great.
Feel free. I'm not trying to influence you or anything, Don, but
No, not at all. And this is a very
Oh.
important question. So strictly from, the point of view of someone who has been in the movie industry as a film producer. So I'm just wondering, would you agree or disagree with this statement that the film Roadhouse, starring, of course, the late, great Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, arguably the most badass man on earth, is clearly the greatest film of all time? Agree or disagree?
Clearly it
Thank
is.
you.
I mean,
We
come
will
on.
definitely send your swag now. I cannot promise you will get a Roadhouse mug like Jeff's because that's something special, but
I honestly love the movie. I really did.
I know. Well, of course, people watching don't know, but we had a whole conversation about this before we went on the air. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know. Should I tell them? I feel like it's a secret, but I'm going to tell them anyway. We always work in a Roadhouse reference for anyone who's ever seen the movie. Or if there's a moment where we say something and you have no idea what we're talking about, there's a good chance it's just about Roadhouse. So
yeah, yep,
that's great. I love it.
So we're going to do a quick giveaway now for the swag bags. We'll start with those two, and then so our first winner is Jonathan Hyatt. So
all right,
congrats, Jonathan.
Go, Jonathan.
For Jonathan and all our winners, make sure you email support@inventorylab.com and then give us your mailing address. Let us know you want a swag bag. And then swag bag winner 2 is Train Watcher Don. Hey, you weren't on a second account or anything, were you, Don?
Nope, that's not me.
All right, and then the Amazon.
I like his name.
Yeah, there you go. So the $50 gift card winner is Christiana Santinon. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but make sure you email us as well, Christiana, and let us know what email to send that to. So we appreciate that. Appreciate you guys watching us and everything. And Don, we'll give you the final words here to let people know again how to contact you and to find out more about AccrueMe.
Sure. I'm happy when people connect with me on LinkedIn. It's my full name, Donald Hennig, just like my mother would call me, for dinner, Donald. And or my email is very simple. It's just Don, D-O-N, @AccrueMe.com. Nice and simple. Oh, you're good, Jeff. And
he's on top of it.
I would say to people, don't hold back. Don't let anything hold you back. If you're doing this for 4 months and 5 months and you do the questionnaire and you don't get the response that you're approved, put in there that you know me or contact me so that we can have a conversation. Happy to do it. And if I can help you in any way, that's what I do. That's what I've done my entire career, is help people, build businesses and help people grow. And that's the way it works. So I'm happy to do it.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Enjoyed the conversation.
Great information.
You've had quite the history. Yeah.
Right?
It's awesome. Very interesting. So again, we appreciate it.
Thank you. It was really great being on. I really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
All right,
and
we'll see you next time.
In a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.